Hi, today I'm with Imogen Edmunds of Redwing Solutions HR Consultancy, and today we're talking about probationary periods, which tends to be a little bit of a minefield, I think, along the way, doesn't it?
It does, and they have been around a while. They are not, in actual fact, an employment law element. They're a HR construct, and they've been done in order to enable the employee and the employer, so not just the employer, to make their minds up about the opportunity that's been presented to somebody. So they are really important. They're really super but and the length of probation period that we would recommend is now 6 months.
Okay.
And a probation period can always be extended, but we shouldn't be extending it multiple times. So the law requires, if you're going to use a probation period, you've got to put it in your contract of employment. Okay. It shouldn't be something that you keep secret. So the employee, when they are offered a job, we should say that their employment is subject to a probationary period, and we should say how long that probation period will be. Now, obviously, if you're taking somebody on a 12-month contract, a 6-month probation period is absolutely fine. If you're taking them on a 3-month contract, you might want to give them a 3-month probationary period. So it's important to think about the length of the contract you're offering somebody. And in the contract, you have to say what it is that's going to happen if the probationary period is not successful.
Right.
And it's really important to diarise the dates. Biggest piece of advice I can give anyone who's managing or operating a day nursery is when you take somebody on, and with a bit of luck it'll be the first of the month, because that's always the best day to take somebody on for annuals. But you diarise their start date, you diarise what's going to be the end of the first month, what's going to be the end of the first 3 months, and what's going to be the end of the first 6 months. Because what you don't want to do, and we see this a lot as a HR consultancy, is people will approach us and say, well, they know their probation period is extended. And we'll go, well, how do they know that? Well, Imogen, I told them in a supervision meeting. It's buried in the notes of the supervision that your probation period is extended. That won't be okay.
No.
They needed to have had either a separate meeting, or if not a separate meeting, a letter for the file after the meeting that said your probation period has been extended. We now need to work on this and this together so that your probationary period is successful. I'm afraid it won't be extended further. The consequence of that might be the end of your employment. We have to do that. We can't avoid doing that.
No. So do you have to specify a reason why that probation period is being extended?
Absolutely. You do because it's a decent thing to do. Somebody needs to know why, but they also need to, more importantly, know what you're going to do to support them to do something about that.
Yeah.
So say that their performance isn't satisfactory, or they haven't completed all of their mandatory training, that would be specified in the letter, and there it can be therefore measured independently if that has or hasn't happened at the end of the probation period.
Okay. And you say it's from the other side, of course, as well. So, I think a lot of employees don't necessarily realise that it should be used as a time to kind of measure and raise maybe concerns or things they feel haven't been represented properly.
I think people do. I think people, they don't necessarily be reminded of that, but if you take a job and you've left a job to take that job, I'm afraid if your expectations aren't met, you're very easily going to move on to another job and just say that you were looking for work.
Yeah.
You're not going to necessarily say, I took a job, didn't like it, it didn't suit me, so I didn't stay. You're going to move on to the next opportunity. And we call the first 3 months of someone's service induction crisis.
Okay.
So if they were to leave, it'll be because you did something in induction that didn't validate their reasons to stay.
Yeah.
And often the terms and conditions are more favourable to somebody to leave during the probation period. Their notice period is often typically less.
Yeah. Really hope you found that useful. If you'd like to subscribe, please do click on the link below, and we'll see you again soon.